We're very pleased to have Jermaine Beckford with us today.
I was waiting for the phone call, to be honest with you. It just didn't come. It doesn't make sense.
Well, you can blame Daniel Levy for that.
Exactly.
I mean, that is just pure.
That's bonkers.
Yeah. If I was called Sam Allardyce, I'd have been right at the top. No problem whatsoever.
I was playing for Wildstone. You want Shamshan? You got no fans. I just looked at the touchline. They went, "Brilliant, Jermaine!" And inside, I'm thinking, mate, I don't think you know what's just happened there, mate.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of No Tippy Tappy Football, brought to you by William Hill. Good afternoon, Sam. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Natalie. Yes, I'm very well, thank you, and looking forward to today's podcast as always, and introducing my guest today.
Yes, we've got a very special guest today, and we started slowly today because we've just been talking so much, and then we remembered we have to actually record a podcast, Sam. So, would you like to introduce our special guest today?
Well, yes, I mean, I'll just warn our guests now, time flies when we do this podcast, and hope you enjoy it as much as the rest of our guests. But the younger version of our guest list today, we're very pleased to have Jermaine Beckford with us today. And just before we got in the past, we was talking about trying to turn me into a vegetarian and vegan.
Vegan, we were going for,
Who knows?
Sam.
So he's going to send me the information. We'll see what happens. But Jermaine, thanks very much for coming today.
Thank you very much for having me today, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. We always like to start by finding out of our guests, has your path crossed Sam's? Did you maybe play in a team that faced him, or where have you met professionally before today?
I would have played against one of your teams, but not on many occasions.
No.
I was waiting for the phone call, to be honest with you. It just didn't come. What did I do wrong? I thought I was doing well.
I can't remember where it might have been or what club, because I've had that many. But you know, you
That's
never know. You've got quite a long list as well. But he was just saying before, he played with he knew my grandson at Bury, who was trying to make his way, young Sam, into Bury's first team. Unfortunately, before it folded, but. He said some very nice things about my grandson, so I'm pleased about that. I'll revert that back to him when I get home.
Yes, you've made a good impression to start with.
Well, I'm not even trying. Wait until I turn the charm on.
So we always have to do a catch-up, Jermaine, on the pod about managers that have been sacked or managers that have left, or we always have to do a catch-up with Sam. And even at this late stage of the season, people are still getting sacked. So, Sam, I want your reaction to Spurs sacking their interim manager.
Well, it's par for the course, Natalie, isn't it, this season? I mean, it's always been a mad world, you know. And whenever I got a message when I got back off my holidays to start a new season, and people messaging me how things are going, I go, and managing the madness again. Right, I'm just getting back in the groove. So, and that's what it is. You manage the madness in the Premier League, particularly because it's never been as mad as this season. And of course, at the top, we've had the battle between Man City and Arsenal, which is a surprise that Arsenal stayed there. And at the bottom, we have the biggest battle I think we've ever had facing the last 5 or 6 games, where there's 6 or 7 teams still involved with the fight against relegation. So it makes for very, very interesting reading. But for managers, anybody out there, the young coaches and young aspiring managers, just be aware that it's a very, very tricky business, and more often than not, you have to be ready to be sacked, because that's generally what's going to happen. It's what you do and how you come back after that, like you mean. So you can still make your way forward. For instance, the Brighton manager, doing a fantastic job, was sacked in his previous 4 jobs, and has come back with a vengeance now, and
the Zebri,
took them on. You know, he's taken them on from the previous manager, and he's sitting at home. The previous manager, Graham, who's got sacked at Chelsea, thinking, "Did I do the right thing leaving Brighton now?" But he had to. If you've got any ambition, you have to.
I was just about to say that it's such a huge opportunity when you're managing a fantastic football club like Brighton to be linked, let alone to actually get the job at a club the size of Chelsea. It's an opportunity. You can't turn it down. There's no way you can turn it down. Even if you know you're up against it, it's on your CV. And if it doesn't work out for you, you can always take a step backwards. And I'm not being detrimental to the teams that are a little bit lower down, but you can always take a step backwards and still put your print on another one of those Premier League sides that are mid-table fighting for a European spot. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, is it?
Of course, they sacked Graham Potter. They've brought in Frank again. Now they're being linked to Pochettino as a long-term boss. Do you think that'd be a good choice for Chelsea?
I don't think it would be a bad choice. Like, let's be honest. He's had the experience of working with some of the best footballing players in the world. Neymar's, the Mbappe's, Messi's, etc. So he knows how to deal with egos. He's had to deal with egos. And the Chelsea players are used to playing a certain type of football, working with a certain type of manager and owner. So they become stuck in their ways to an extent. So he will have an understanding of how to deal with certain players in certain situations. And he's really good with the younger players as well. So you would like to think it is a good fit. I'll be intrigued to know what the Spurs fans think of it as well, because obviously he was linked with a move back there as well. And that's not quite worked out, is it?
There's not a lot about Natalie.
You're about?
Well, I know I'm about, but, you know...
I'm about.
I'm not called...
You're going as a double
I'm
act.
told... Jermaine, here, listen to this. If I was called Sam Allardyce, I'd have been right at the top. No problem whatsoever. So if my name was Allardyce and I spoke with a slightly Italian English accent, then I'd be fine. But being a bit broad and a bit Midland stroke Northwestern, when it comes to the top jobs, you get most of us managers. That's why I was so disappointed Graham not being successful.
Yeah,
because he's British. And of course then Brendan looked like he was going to get there, and that's fell away through, I don't think any fault of his own, but circumstances financially at Leicester have fallen the club onto hard times. So it depends where you are, how good you are, and then how lucky you are to drop in the right place at the right time and build a football club. Chelsea now, Roman Abramovich is not there, so style of football to the Americans won't matter. It's about winning.
Yep.
You know, and it was about winning at Chelsea, but winning and with style. But Jose didn't have much style. He was all about winning.
Yeah.
Antonio Conte. I'm doing them a disjustice. They all had style. Antonio Conte has style. Look at the track record. Look how much they win. Look what they win. But they're in the media world around this country of ours, this style of play rubbish. It's doing me head in, and that's been doing me head in for weeks, as Natalie will tell you. Natalie takes 2 aspirin before I come on. So he's going to go on about style of play again, about the rubbish about. That's why this podcast is called Tippy Tappy Football.
We hope you're enjoying watching No Tippy Tappy Football, brought to you by William Hill. And don't forget, you need to subscribe to the Footy Accumulators YouTube channel so you never miss an episode.
I've got a lot of friends, really good friends, who are Spurs fans, season ticket holders. So they follow Spurs all over the place. And they are starting to become disillusioned with the whole situation around Spurs. So obviously, you briefly spoke about Pochettino's moment where he could have won a title, should have won a title, 2015. Jose Mourinho got to the final, I think it was, of one of the cup competitions, and then got sacked beforehand.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense.
Well, you can blame Daniel Levy for that.
Exactly.
I mean, that is just pure.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, I know.
It's
that.
bonkers.
Yeah.
And you want to be known as an owner or a manager or a player that wins things. And if your owner is sacking the manager a couple of days, a week before the biggest game in your professional footballing career as a football player, as a manager, for example, that just throws your whole equilibrium off.
Do you think that's a personal decision?
I think
by Daniel Levy. Do you think Daniel Levy's looked at it and gone? Because I don't know. Obviously, it's speculation.
So I've heard
he's got this
rumors.
Contract. If he wins a cup competition, his contract's extended. He gets this
more
big
money
bonus,
and
gets all this, and you know. Do you think that might have been? Ooh.
Yeah,
so he's
so
gone. He's gone. I mean, I've had an owner. I'll not mention his name. I've had an owner that wanted to talk about finance more than success.
Yeah. But that's a businessman first rather than a footballer.
Everybody knows it now because it was.
Yeah.
Listen, he's passed away. God rest his soul now. But my chairman told me he didn't want to go to the Premier League. Didn't want to go to the Champions League.
Yeah.
So how can I carry on? And was that a type of, let's fire Jose now before I have to pay him this bonus or give him this contract?
I think so. So that's my perspective on that as well, solely based on the rumours that had been circulating around and what we've seen and heard from Daniel Levy and Jose Mourinho and some of the players as well. So I don't understand that. If you want success, you've got to be successful. You have to get success to bring in the best players. And then when you're playing in Europe consistently and you've got the best players, you've got a better opportunity of winning it or getting further into the depth of the Champions League, the Europa Leagues, the Premier League, challenging for titles, not just trying to get into the European spots. I don't understand that. Competition has always been number one in my list, and you've got to be the best. I don't see the point if you're not trying to win things. What is the point? I don't get it.
Harry Redknapp came out and said that he would have had a go, Sam. Obviously, you'll know. I imagine you know Harry Redknapp pretty well. Should they have let him have a go till the end of the season?
I think, by the way, that Daniel got rid of Harry when he took him to the Champions League more than anybody else had done before anybody else had done. It was, see, Harry's a manager. He's not an head coach. And that's Daniel's problem. Daniel wants an head coach, not a manager.
So he wants to oversee everything.
Correct. Yeah, he wants to buy his players.
Yeah.
He knows about his players. He does as much research as anybody, as much we all did as managers, as I did, you know what I mean? Because the whole club relied on us to put the final stamp on the player we're buying. That's no longer the case. So Harry's too much of a manager for Daniel. So,
even in the interim, even in the short term?
Well, no, probably not. But, obviously the way it finished, it didn't finish that well, did it? And obviously, Harry, for whatever reason, Daniel didn't even consider him to be interim, like I mean. They talk about Ryan Mason, it was inexperienced. The assistant managers never managed before, but I can see why they did it, because results were still good when Antonio was off ill.
Yes.
And
so they didn't want to change
taking charge, and so Daniel must have thought he can do this till the end of the season. But then obviously a 6-1.
And now they need a caretaker for the caretaker.
Down the tubes. And they never rang me either. So before you ask,
ridiculous,
it's
Sam.
unbelievable.
Or me, so it must be my phone.
Ridiculous. and we know that Sam didn't get a call for Leeds. Did you not get a call for Leeds? No Leeds call. Oh, hold on.
Definitely my phone. It's definitely my phone.
So in terms of Leeds, your former club, obviously no wins in 4 now. Are you starting to worry?
A little bit, yes. Do you know what? One of the biggest issues at Leeds is currently, the last 4 games especially, there's a couple of players, in my opinion, that should be playing in this situation. Wilfred Inonto, who is the young Italian kid, fantastic. He's so positive, he's so driven, he's so direct with the ball. He gets the play up the field. He doesn't mind defending as well, and he's got a little bit of a mean streak about him. He's a fantastic player. He's not playing. He didn't come off the bench the last couple of games. I don't know. I've spoken to him directly about it, and he doesn't know, or he does know, and he's just not giving me because of my position in the media. So I think he should be playing. There's Rodrigo, Patrick Bamford as well. There's Jack Harrison, Luis Sinistera, Somerville. There's so many great attacking players in that team. The issue seems to be at the other end of the field, conceding for fun as well.
This is Sam's favourite topic.
Conceding for fun. And a lot of people mention the lack of leadership. And at the last couple of games especially, with exception to the Leicester game, there hasn't been any real leadership on the pitch during the home games. The Crystal Palace 5-1, the Liverpool 6-1. Embarrassing. It was absolutely embarrassing. And if you take a step backwards and just listen to what the fans want and what the fans are saying, similar to Spurs, Levy, listening to what the fans are saying, what the fans are calling out for, I think the decision is very simple. It's a very obvious decision to make for the greater good of the football club and preserving the Premier League status. However, it just doesn't seem to be that way currently. So it's really, really frustrating.
Leeds are down there fighting. You know, like Sam said before, so many big clubs down there. I mean, so many clubs can go down at the minute. Another one obviously would be Leicester, another of your former clubs.
Oh, this is going to go on a while, isn't it?
There's another one after that.
Another one there.
There's coming after that. Another big one.
I have
It's
got
not
that one on
looking
my
good for
list
me,
as
is it?
well, yes. I mean, Leicester have some phenomenal players. I mean, Maddison,
really do.
Tielemans, Soyuncu, they're all incredible players, all rumoured that they will leave this summer.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
You can understand why. You can look at the way James Maddison changes the game, the way he picks the ball up under pressure and has the ability to create space in a whirlwind of carnage. And you look at players like Yuri Tielemans, whose technical ability is fantastic, his awareness is brilliant, his delivery is outrageous. He scored a goal against Leeds. It was chalked off as offside, but the technique he had when the ball was rolled back to him at the edge of the 18-yard box, I don't think we're going to see a better disallowed goal this season.
That's true.
You
Very
know,
true. Very shame.
So-
it's a great shame that's disallowed, isn't it?
well,
For somebody else who's
not from a
offside.
Leeds perspective, it's not.
No, not from a Leeds. No, you being a Leeds fan, I get that.
But no, of course it's. But you take those two players, for example, they're absolutely incredible. And if Leicester City are going to be firefighting next season in the Premier League, if they're able to maintain a Premier League status, or if they do get relegated, those players, those type of players are going to be cherry picked for, you know, teams in the top six, and rightly so, because they're the type of players that improve squads and they enhance the overall quality of the teams they'll be joining. And for a number of years, they've been playing above their pay grade, so to speak. So, you know, you look at the overall weekly wage, you look at the value of the squad that Leicester City have in comparison to a lot of the other teams that they've been fighting for that European spots, or even in 2015 where they were pushing to win the Premier League title, which they did against all odds, 5,000 to 1, I think it was, or something really outrageous with it. So when you take that into account, they've been fighting above their station for a long, long time. So the Leicester City fans have been fortunate enough to witness their club win the Premier League title. I think they've got the FA Cup as well during that time.
Yeah, they did, yeah. Brendan got the FA Cup.
Brendan, exactly. So, you know, as long as they avoid relegation this season, I kind of agree with what you're saying. I think they'll be one of the favourites next season.
And they had a super duper started by a lad who worked for me at Newcastle, Steve Walsh.
As well, yeah.
They built a recruitment system with Nigel to start with, absolutely second to none.
Was Craig Shakespeare there at that time as well?
Was there, yeah. I worked with Craig at Everton and in England, of course.
Yeah.
And I think that when that recruitment system has to keep going, because you keep selling your best player, and I think I've said this before in recent podcasts, it doesn't last because they have sold so much quality.
Oh, incredible.
Even with winning the title. After winning the title, they end up selling Mahrez.
Kante. N'Golo Kante.
Yeah.
There's lots of players. Danny Drinkwater, although it didn't quite work out for him at Chelsea.
You know,
a good amount of money for
fantastic
him.
player. I played with all of these guys and they're unbelievable players.
Tierney, is it? Left back, not Tierney. Is it Chelsea now, the left back?
Chilwell.
Chilwell. Ben Chilwell.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
But they've got great amounts of money for these guys.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire as well.
Phenomenal
amounts of money for these players, you know.
If Leicester went down, if they stayed up, would you stick with Dean Smith as a manager?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, definitely.
If he went, would you fancy it, Sam?
Well, I fancy Leicester. I could have won the Premier League with Leicester. Because I turned the job down before Ranieri got it. So
oh no!
Yeah,
I think she set you up there.
I was a bit at the end of the season going, why didn't I take that? Now there's no saying I'd have ever won the league, so you can't say it would or it wouldn't, like you mean. But I know it was after the 5 years at West Ham. And it was straight in again, and I just felt
you needed a little bit of a break.
You know, in all fairness, you look at Leicester and they stayed up by the skin of the teeth, and I thought, you know, I need a bit of time off. So it was great that I didn't take the job. If anybody's listening, because obviously Ranieri came in and they ended up with it. But what they did was they kept the same staff.
Yes, everybody from the back.
Yeah, from the backroom staff.
Oh, wow.
Craig Shakespeare and all them guys stayed, and
Mm-hmm.
Steve Walsh, who did the recruitment, actually got poached by Everton to go there. So
I've got an interesting fact about Leicester City winning the Premier League title that season.
Hit us.
by 10 points, by the way.
Yeah.
I've just forgotten about it.
They were the first team in Premier League history to win the Premier League title and have the majority of possession less than 45%, I think it was.
Yeah.
Really?
I've
Over
seen
the
that
course
stat.
of the season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible, isn't
Yeah.
it? So that just goes to show you don't need to dictate play all the time. You just have to be precise and ruthless in front of goal. And Jamie Vardy was on absolute flames as well that season.
Yeah.
Wow. I think he scored the most consecutive goals, or he equaled the most consecutive goals.
I think
in Premier League
was it
history.
12 on the trot or something
On the
like
trot,
that?
yeah.
Something like
And the
12
12th
games
one
on
was
the trot, I
fantastic
think.
as well. I can't remember who it was against, but the ball came over the top. It bounced. Liverpool, that's right. And he had to readjust his stride pattern and the volley, the
Volleyed
technique he had. Oh my good gosh. I spoke to him about it when Leicester played Leeds the other day. And he just gave me a smirk. He just gave me a smirk and a little wink and said, well, you know.
Is he Leicester for life, do you think? Do you think he'll
Yeah,
stay
all
there?
day long. I think he would want to, but obviously it depends if Leicester stay in the Premier League or in the Championship, whether they avoid relegation or not. He's got a franchise out in the States. I think it's Rochester FC. So there's a possibility that if that gets off the ground, he might go over there. I don't know if it would be in a playing or a coaching capacity, but he's got a stake in the franchise over there. So there's a possibility.
Yeah, lots of players that coming to the end of their careers moving to the States, and interesting. Right, so we've done Leicester, we've done a little bit on Leeds, we've done a little bit on Leicester. So we'll move to Everton now. So let's go back to the start though. So you go from Leeds to Everton.
Yep.
How does it come about? Give us a kind of insight as to sort of when you sort of hear about it, what you're thinking. Is anybody else in for you at that time?
Well, I was playing for Leeds and having a very good season, scoring lots of goals. I think we got promoted that season as well. Had a decent FA Cup run, played against Manchester United, played against Spurs, beat Man United at Old Trafford, drew with Spurs at White Hart Lane, 2-2 last minute penalty. You know, these things happen. Seem to happen to me quite often. Yes, I did. I scored both of the goals against Spurs and the one against Manchester United. Thanks for asking. I was leading you into it and nobody took the bait.
Hey, if you can't go blow your own trumpet, who can, Jermaine?
Well,
you go for
good
it.
point. Good point. So it was leading off the back of that season. And I ended up with, I think ended up with 20 goals that season. No, I didn't. I'm doing myself a disservice. I think I ended up with 30 or 31 that season.
In all comps.
In all comps,
Yeah.
yeah.
Impressive.
Season before that, 34. Thanks for asking. Season before that, 20. Thanks again for asking.
How many goals overall in your whole career?
Oh, somebody said this to me yesterday. I don't know.
A lot.
80-ish.
Okay.
Maybe a few more. Maybe a few less. I'm not sure. I always like to go.
Who's your best club? You
all of
enjoyed
them.
the most?
Genuinely, all of them.
Yeah.
I spent the most time at Leeds, so I would say probably Leeds. I'm still in contact with a lot of the people there as well. Absolutely beautiful people. They're a lovely football club. Crazy fan base. So the fan base kind of suits me as a person because I'm a little bit off the wall sometimes, and they're off the wall all the time. So we have a great relationship with each other. But I had great times at Everton as well. Scored the Merseyside derby
Nice.
at Anfield as well. So that was
At
great.
Anfield.
Yep.
Okay.
Best manager?
Simon
You worked
Grayson.
under- Simon.
Simon.
Yeah, Larry.
Yeah, Larry.
Yeah.
He's out
won
in
it,
the,
just won in India.
He has indeed.
Yeah, he just won a few things in India, Larry. Yeah.
He's done really, really well out
Yes,
there.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's my favourite manager.
Oh, very good.
Because he literally said before every game, right, Bex, you go and play football, just score goals. I'll talk to the team about tactics.
Correct,
And he just left me to it, you know. No, we had a great understanding of each other's strengths and weaknesses, and I feel we worked really, really well together. When things
Excellent.
weren't going well, he knew how to handle me and handle my ego when I had it. And
Well, you
took me
don't
out
have
of the
it
firing
anymore
line.
then?
No, I don't have it anymore. I'm chilled now. I don't need to have it anymore. You know, I've been able to live the dream and do things that I'd never in a million years imagined I'll be able to do. And, you know, one of those things was play football. The other one was, you know, score in score a professional football goal and play in the FA Cup and score in the FA Cup. You know, somebody said to me the other day, my FA Cup record. Sorry I'll go back to your question in a minute. My record in the FA Cup is up there with one of the best games per goals. I didn't know that. I was just enjoying the moments. You know, you don't think about what's going to happen or what's happened. You live in the here and in the now. You know, when I was playing,
thing to be able to do.
Yeah, when I was playing, I used to play in 30-second increments. So within the space of 30 seconds, the goalkeeper could have it 1 minute and start off with the ball, and then 30 seconds later, I could have the ball in the opposition 18-yard box, and it's what happens then. If I score, great. If I miss, you know, not a problem. I've got another one coming in a couple of minutes, no stress. So that's how I used to focus on putting that to one side. But going back to your question about how did the Everton move come about, I was doing pretty well, scoring a lot of goals and really enjoying my time at Leeds. And naturally, when you're playing well and you're scoring goals and your team's winning games and you're at the top of the league, that draws a little bit of attention. And I've been quite fortunate. Everybody wants a goal scorer, I think, you know.
Everybody. So number one in the team.
Yeah. So a lot of people were starting to ask questions like Newcastle. I had Celtic interested in me. I had Benfica, Braga. I had, you know, Everton's and West Ham. There were lots and lots of really, really big football clubs with unbelievable fan bases interested in taking me on board. But again, similar to what you said about not really being in control of the transfers nowadays, I didn't want to deal with the noise, because naturally all that does is takes your attention away from what you're supposed to be doing, which is what's getting the attention in the first place. Yeah. So I said to my agent, look, get together a little list and then we'll talk at the end of the season when it's done and dusted. I don't want to know anything between now and the end of the season, because I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good motion. I'm in a great frame of mind. And everything's just working. Everything's falling to me and I'm putting it in the back of the net. My team are doing really well. We're winning games. You know, we're finally getting to a point where we are achieving our objective of the season, which is get promoted, get out of this division. So he kept on phoning me during the season. He's like, listen, Jermaine, I've got something to tell you. I said, I'm not interested. I don't want to know. And it got to the end of the season, and immediately after the final game of the season, where we played Bristol Rovers at home and we beat them 2-1. We were down to 10 men, a goal down as well during the game. My first game as captain, which I was buzzing about, absolutely over the moon. He said to me, well, not that night, maybe the next night or a couple of nights later when I recovered. He said, what do you think? Everton. I was like, Everton. Fan base, very similar. The history of the football club, incredible. The stadium, the team, David Moyes, what he'd said to my agent about the situation at Everton and my possible role and the objectives for the season as well. European football was the target. I grew up on a council estate, you know, and then all of a sudden I'm hearing people talking about playing football in the Premier League and chasing a European a spot in Europe and coming up against, you know, some of the biggest footballing sides in world football. Come on.
Who was your agent, Jermaine?
A guy called Nick Rubery.
Right.
So,
Nick. Does he work with a firm, or did he work individually, or did he start individually and then went into one of the big boys? He
started off with a firm and then quickly discovered that he was more than happy and more than capable to go about it himself.
Himself, okay.
Yeah. So he started up his own company, and then that in turn, I think he got bought out by Stella
Group, yeah.
The Stella Group.
No, well, yeah.
So he's still employed by them now, but he's got his own branch, I think.
Yeah. So he has his own group of players. He keeps hold of them, looks after them. And
that's right, yeah.
Stella Group looks after...
Yeah, they all fall under the Stella Group umbrella, don't they?
Yeah.
And we were talking about your career just before we came on. It's fascinating, and Sam, you know, loves your story particularly because, can you just, for anybody that doesn't know, it was a short time period from not playing professionally to playing in the Premier League?
Oh my goodness me! So I was playing for Wealdstone. If you don't know about Wealdstone, they're a club in northwest London, and they've got a really famous supporter, the Wealdstone Raider. You want Champion? You got no fans.
So you went from Wealdstone, non-league. You had a normal job at the time?
Yeah, I was working for RAC. I had a bright orange RAC van.
RAC?
Yeah.
Recovery man.
I was indeed. I was replacing windows and windscreens. So if you need a shout, give me it. But the best part about that job, not only that I had a bright orange RAC van, but I had a fuel card as well. Imagine how handy that would come in now. Yeah. Oh my gosh. They cut that off really
There's very few players today that leave a football club like Chelsea, 3 years at Chelsea in the academy, and then go and play for Wealdstone and then come back and all the way back and have the career you've had. That used to be, quite often, probably 15, 20 years ago, that happened.
A regular occurrence.
A regular occurrence. Yeah. And now, I think we only named one we talked about today. Mm. And I was looking at the stats because obviously I've developed this app for youngsters in academies. And of course, it's about them logging their careers and their education. But we looked at the statistics of academy players and 95% are still not making it from the time they joined the club at 16 to 21. So there's a massive fallout. But unfortunately, they look at the statistics and about how many of those, 60, 70%, stop playing.
During that age period.
And when they get released.
No way.
So they don't
even
go
go
to
and enjoy football anymore.
Right.
Yeah. See, that's a shame.
I could never see my life, whether I made it or not playing
some kind of football.
Even
somewhere.
If it was a Sunday pub team, and I would be playing.
So
was that your thinking when you left Chelsea? Then just keep playing.
Yeah. Like as a 15-year-old kid or 14-year-old kid going back into school, and everyone saying, "Oh, how was training?" I was like, "Well, I got released from Chelsea." "Oh, that's a shame. What are you going to do now?" I said, "Well, I'm going to continue playing. Like, it's just going to be somewhere else." Yeah. It's just one of those experiences. I was always going to play, whether I was being paid to play or I was paying to play. That was never up for
subs.
I had to pay subs when I was at Wealdstone.
Who's collecting subs?
Normally goes straight in somebody's pocket.
There's always one who owes subs for weeks and weeks and weeks and doesn't. You know what I mean? It's like...
I have a vision now, Sam, of Jermaine and his RAC orange van. He gets a call from someone saying, Leeds. And I bet you're like, nope, put the phone down, joke.
So I thought it was initially. But I used to go to work, so I'd start work at 8 o'clock and finish at 5 o'clock, for example. And then from 5 until 6, I would be in the van, travelling from work to the training ground with Wealdstone. I'd get out of the van at the training ground, jump in the back, get changed into my training kit, hop out of the back of the van, and then go and train. And then once I'm finished, hop back in the van because I'm on call again.
Love that.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
What went through your mind then when Leeds called? Because I imagine you would think it was a prank.
So I was playing for Wealdstone. Again, scored something like 35 in 40 or 40 in 35. One of the two, I can't remember. And Crystal Palace, Charlton, Yeovil wanted to take me on trial. So naturally, I'm excited. So I go on trial with these clubs. It doesn't quite work out. I'm nowhere near the standard required. And then Watford gave me a call as well and said, it was Adi Boothroyd actually.
All right.
Said,
Adi's in India now.
Is he really?
Yeah, managing India.
Oh, he is, of course, yeah. He's done really, really well. Great manager. So he called me and said, look, I want to take you for a week on trial. We'll see how you get on and then we'll have a conversation later on. So went to Watford, trained, and after the first day, he was like, come into the office, we'll have a chat about a contract. I was like, what? I'm still playing for Wealdstone, I'm working at RAC, and then all of a sudden
I need to get my notice.
Yeah. So I gave my so my manager, Gordon Bartlett for Wealdstone, absolutely top guy as well, legend of the club, was in contact with an agency, and he said, look, speak to these guys, they'll oversee it, they'll look after you. So I gave my so-called agent a call at the time, and he said, congratulations, an amazing opportunity. However, I've just been on the phone to Leeds, and Leeds United want you. I was like, this is some crazy dream.
Yeah.
Very good agent. So I had to find a very polite way of apologising to Adi Boothroyd for wasting his time and hit the A1M up to
Not in your
Leeds.
RAC van anymore?
In the RAC van. No, I had a 6 or a 7-year-old Renault Megane with 3 hubcaps and a massive dent in the back. I'm pretty sure the back light was broken as well. Felt like a Flintstones car. I could see the floor through underneath one of the floor mats as well. But honestly, so when I signed for Leeds, I signed on the Friday, I think it was. And then...
Did they pay Wilston anything?
Sorry. No, I played for Wealdstone on the Saturday, and there were about 60 people. I signed for Leeds on the Sunday, trained on the Monday, and then I made my debut at Ellen Road in front of 34,500 fans against Crystal Palace.
That quick?
Mate, imagine how I must have been feeling. 60 people on the Saturday to 34,500 people on the Tuesday night.
How was your bottom?
Fell out, mate.
That's a bit of a toilet tester before you work, isn't it? Like me.
Do you know what? So I was on the touchline and I had number 32. So my number came up on the board and I'm like, oh my God, this is it, Jermaine. Oh my God, you've made it. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I can hear my old man. My dad was like, you've not made anything until you finished your career. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Basically what he means is don't let what's happening here and now cloud the bigger picture, because as soon as you do, then you lose track of where you are and what your goals are, etc. So I said, right, forget what's going on outside. Focus here, now. That's it. The ball came to me. Very first touch. The ball came to me. Defender's right up behind me. First touch, pinged it up and over his head. The worst touch I could have ever possibly had in the world. Goes up and over the defender's head. I spin the other side, made it look like an absolute peach. He brought me down. It was a free kick.
Brilliant.
So I just looked at the touchline. They went, brilliant, Jermaine. And I'm thinking, mate, I don't think you know what's just happened there, mate.
I'll keep that one quiet. I'll just keep that.
Nobody's going to find out about that one.
You make your own luck, though.
Exactly.
What an incredible story. I didn't know that. As Sam was saying, did Wealdstone get any money? Did they have you in contract?
Yeah, they did. I think it was about 35 grand-ish, roughly.
Love that, wouldn't they? That'd be great for them at the time.
But they were due a sell-on clause.
Right, okay.
But I didn't go for any money, did I? So I ended up going on a free. I signed a contract extension and then left when my contract was up. I felt so bad.
The Wealdstone Raiders going to be cursing
Wealdstone
you.
got the first 35 grand. That's enough for them anyway.
Well, that would have been enough to cover
getting the free
first
transfers. A striker that scores goals makes you, or puts you more financially secure than it would be anyway. So
But they've gone on to do pretty well off the back of it. So the awareness they've got off the back of it, and a lot of players have gone there and used it almost as a bridge into the league as well. Yeah. So. And this season, they're not doing too badly either.
Keep an eye on them.
I have to.
Always.
I have to.
Love that. So you're at Everton. So let's have a bit of an Everton chat. Obviously, they're down there as well in the sort of, could go down.
Here's me thinking I spoke enough to gloss over it.
Well, from a striker's point of view, Dominic Calvert-Lewin obviously continues to have, really unlucky time with injuries. Mm-hmm. I don't even know. Is he back? Is he fit?
He's back. He played last week. Yeah,
he started. He played pretty well, didn't he?
Yeah,
he looked quite sharp.
He had a real good. He was unlucky not to score. Actually, they played a ball into his feet and he rolled the defender in one movement with the ball and then just shot it wide. Like I mean, so obviously it's very, or has been very disappointing for him because this is 2 seasons.
If they're going to have a chance, they're going to need him. Do you think?
Desperately. The last game, he looked really, really good. Considering he's been out for a fair amount of time, he came back in, and I think you'll back me up on this. He didn't look like he had much rust on him, And when I say that, I mean, like, normally the first touch is a little bit loose or, they get tired. The fatigue starts kicking in after about 30 minutes in the first half. And then again, 15, 20 minutes into the second half. He didn't seem like he had any of that, which means everything behind the scenes, everything he's been doing at Finch Farm, the training ground, has been on point. He's been doing it right. It's just frustrating that it's taken this long to get him back to, so it seems currently, a point where he is fit and he is firing and he's happy with his body and he's happy with how he feels, his muscles and everything as well. The most important thing now is about how he's looked after with his recovery, because that's the first. I think he played about 80-ish, maybe a little bit more minutes.
Yeah, that's a long time for your first one back.
Yeah. So it's about how they look after him now, leading into the next game. That's vital, because you don't want him to be out again. If he's out for any other games, I think Everton have got major problems, because they can't really score many goals without him.
Yes, really exciting end to the Premier League, but both ends of the table. Before we go into our quick fire, not so quick fire round, I've just got a couple of other questions from your experience. You know, you've looking at so many people that you've played with in your clubs. I mean, you played with Mikel Arteta.
Yep.
Did you envision him becoming? Did you know he was going to become a good manager?
He had unbelievable leadership skills. He always led by example. So he wasn't one of those players that shouted and screamed at you all the time. But he'd have a quiet word in your ear. When I make this move, I want you to do this, because that will happen and that will create space. And if he goes here, you go over here, and so on and so forth. So he would feed those little gems of information to you. And somebody like me, I was like a sponge. Yeah.
So you know Roundy then?
Yeah.
So he's a quiet man.
Who's Roundy?
Steve Roundy. He worked with me at Newcastle. And then I told Moisey to take him when I lost my job, to take him at Everton, like me.
So he's at Arsenal with Mikel now.
And obviously Mikel must have liked Steve.
He was brilliant.
Took him to Arsenal as soon as he got the job. You know.
So we spoke earlier about having talking about Spurs, where Stellini was supposed to be the bridge between the players and the managers. That's what Steve Round was. He was a perfect bridge between the players and the managers, players and the staff. And he was one of those people you could go and talk to in confidence.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not feeling great, if you feel like something's not quite firing, you can have a chat with him. I don't know what's wrong. Can you help me out?
Really important role.
Yeah, he was great, and he'll give you little gems of information, and you'd use those to your knowledge, to your benefit. But Mikel was brilliant at giving me those sort of details and helped me out. In terms of seeing him on the touchline going absolutely bonkers at the players when it's not quite going right, I didn't see that side of him. But then when the pressure's on your shoulders, I expect, you know, your reactions are going to be completely different. And he's worked with Pep Guardiola, who is a heart on his sleeve type of manager. So, you know, while he is working with him, naturally he picks up a couple of habits, and whether they're good, whether they're bad, whether they're indifferent, you know, it's all molded him to being the manager that he is now. And I actually think he's a year ahead of where they expected them to be. I think Arsenal have been absolutely incredible, regardless of whether they win the title this season or not. I think they have done an incredible job. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Arsenal are like in the future as well, if they continue to hold on to him.
Yeah, so the business end of the Premier League, also the business end of the Championship, League One, League Two coming up as well. And you will be very familiar with that because you scored a hat-trick in the League One playoff final. I mean, you'll have an eye on League One playoffs this year as well with Bolton, I'm sure, Sam.
Absolutely.
But is that the best way to go up?
Yeah, if it's guaranteed, yeah. I've been on both sides of the fence, and I've lost in the playoff final, 1-0 against Doncaster for Leeds. So, you know, a rivalry there as well.
Yeah,
that was painful. Oh,
Doncaster beating Leeds. I mean, Doncaster, you know, it doesn't go down well with the Leeds fans.
No, it didn't. It didn't. That was horrible. I've gone up as champions when I was at Scunthorpe, and also, you know, with Leeds United as well. So as runners up. So I've done it every way there is possible. And I'll be honest with you, promotion is promotion. It's the best feeling regardless, right? But if you could pick which way you go up, playoffs.
Definitely.
It would have to be the playoffs.
I was at Wembley for City in 99 when we went up through the playoffs on penalties. And yes, it still remains one of the greatest days ever.
I don't like that. I don't like playoff penalties to decide it. That's horrible, that is.
Right, I've got some quick fire questions for you both now.
Yep.
So they don't need to be super quick. We say quick fire, they always end up into a conversation. The first was probably more for you, Sam. We were talking about contracts and moving clubs and stuff.
Yep.
What is the strangest thing a player's ever asked you for when joining a club?
What is the strangest thing? What a question that is. That is a great question.
It's very good.
The strangest thing they have asked for. I'm not so sure whether it's strange, but while in the season, a player asked for time off if he could get married.
During the season?
Yeah.
During the season?
Come on.
Yeah, Christian Benteke at Crystal Palace.
Wanted to get married during the football season. What did you say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was nice of you.
When you play on Saturday and you let me down, I'm going to slaughter you in the press. Come back, played, no problem.
Fair enough.
And every member of staff was going, you can't let him go, you can't let him go.
Did he miss any matches or was it
No,
just
no,
training?
he didn't miss it, just got
training.
it through.
Okay.
To be fair, Ilkay Gundogan got married at the end of City season last year during the season, and he scored the winning goal. So maybe that's a thing. Maybe people should
somewhere
should
down
try
the line
that.
have something more stranger than that, but I can't
like
recall it.
I mean, I'm going to presume, Jermaine, that you never asked for anything strange, but I will ask just to check.
Do you know what? I didn't ask for anything strange. I asked for a box for my family, but apart from that, I've not asked for anything strange. But I have heard. I was trying to think who it was. I can't remember who it was. A player asked for the closest car parking space to the entrance of the stadium. I don't know why.
To save
He
10
wouldn't
steps.
he clearly didn't like giving autographs. If that would be my guess.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
And now
Get
it's
out as quick as-
now the one change in our lifetime from the old days like us. I mean, there's many changes, but is that it's photos now, not autographs.
Yeah.
So can I have a selfie? Can I have a selfie? Can I have a selfie?
Yeah.
You know, which is much easier than standing there going like this.
Yeah. Do you know what?
Trying to get in on time, because if you didn't get in on time when we played, you didn't play.
Oh, okay.
If you were
I've had that
late,
once or twice.
2 minutes late, you'd be out the team. That's it.
Oh, okay.
So-
Well, maybe he was
so-
thinking about that then.
The kids nowadays, they do the selfies. And I'm used to selfies like this, right?
Yeah.
They're coming down here.
Oh, I know.
And
They
what are
do,
you doing?
don't they?
Pick it up. I don't want you to see my 4 chins. Come up here.
Yeah.
Imagine mine then.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Right, next up for the both of you. Should Vincent Kompany leave Burnley this summer?
No.
Brilliant. Done. That's the answer we wanted. Love it. Who was your best friend in football?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're going like all over the show with these today. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Right. I've had lots of really, really good friends in football, but as you change clubs, those best friends drift a little bit.
Somewhat, yeah.
But then whenever you see them again, it's like
Good.
time has never elapsed. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
So I've had loads of best friends. I'm a friendly guy, so I'm friendly with everybody. Oh my gosh. I don't know.
This is quick fire question.
Neil Dans, I guess.
He's managing. Is he Macclesfield?
He is indeed.
Okay.
Give me something more.
Did they win the league?
They did indeed. Well
Macclesfield
done.
with him. Okay.
Name me one of the chairmen.
Robbie Savage.
Boom.
He's been a guest
Robbie
on
down
this
there.
Robbie's been
podcast.
sat there.
I
hasn't he?
know.
Yeah. Okay.
Amazing, huh? Absolutely
You don't
amazing.
fancy going down and playing for him?
I would if my knees worked, but they don't. Not very well. I could probably do 10 minutes at the end of the game. So if anybody out there listening, if you need superstar striker 10 minutes, give me a shout.
I was going to ask who your best friend in football was, but I'm guessing it's Sammy Lee.
At the moment, they might change that if we get football again. Yeah, I've had. I mean, playing wise, Reedy, right, and people like that, right? Who I, joined as kids together, and we still kept that link together. You know what I mean? So that's probably the longest friendship in football, of course.
He's been on the podcast as well.
Yeah.
So good company. Good
Right.
company.
Oh, amazing.
And manager-wise, really good, great mates with Sir Alex, which is a great, great insight into how you should improve yourself and how can you improve yourself when you just sit and listen to when he talks about what he's doing.
What's one of the most important gems he's given you in terms of that?
The most important gems is managing above.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to manage your own way with the players, but you've got to be able to extract the confidence
Yeah, I can
out
imagine
the
that's going
board
to be...
and extract as much as you can out of them to improve your team that you want and how you want to play and who you want to get. Right? I mean, and that's always a
the hardest bit.
difficult job, but he stands for us all, but because him and Howard had started a League Managers Association, which I'm a member of, and that's been going for a long time, protecting managers and coaches.
Which of Jermaine's former clubs has the best chance of staying up? Leeds, Everton, or Leicester?
Ooh, that's a difficult one.
That is a very difficult question.
Stretching you today.
Oh my good gosh.
Do you feel like you have to say Leeds, but are you considering not?
No, do you know what? I'm weighing up all of the options of all of the teams that are currently down there, and oh my goodness me. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. It's so close.
Yeah.
I would even stretch it to possibly even Bournemouth.
Did you play there?
No. But I'm talking about the relegation. You're trying to catch me out here. The teams that are currently in the relegation zone. You've got Southampton,
Forest,
Everton, and then it's Leeds, and then Leicester, and then Leeds, and then Bournemouth.
Yeah.
If the 4 teams at the bottom of the league win a game, or 5 teams at the bottom of the league win a game, Bournemouth are right back in the mess. So I can't see them being ruled out just yet. And there's a possibility if the teams do win a game and close the gap to Bournemouth, what's Bournemouth's confidence going to be like? So I'm not sure. I don't think I can rule them out.
Okay.
We were in the bottom third from bottom or fourth from bottom. Might have been third from bottom at Sunderland with 3 games to go.
Yeah.
We beat Chelsea 3-2 on the Saturday. We beat Everton 3-0. Martinez, manager. We drew with Watford away 2-2, which didn't really mean anything, but if somebody does that, they're going to stay up.
Absolutely.
There. We did
100%.
We did that, and we only lost 1 game in the last 11, and we still had to win those games in the last 3 to go to stay up.
Yeah,
but
wow,
that was a bit of a major achievement. But that was with Jermaine Defoe scoring 18 goals.
Yeah,
without that, Simon
I think was that his best Premier League goal scoring season?
No, I don't think so. I think he's done as much when he was at Portsmouth with Harry.
Okay.
Because he played more when he went to Tottenham and all that, and he didn't play as often as he should have done, did he? You know what I mean?
He's an incredible striker as well. One of my favourite goal scorers of all time.
He's a great guy.
One of Sam's.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Loved the man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've worked with him a couple of times as well. Lovely kid. A lovely guy.
We should try and
Sorry.
get him on, Sam.
I'm going to have to get him on here. He does a lot of podcasting now.
Yeah, because you do mention how much you enjoyed working with him.
Yeah.
Right, I've only got 3 left.
Yep.
What was your initiation song of choice?
We
won't ask you to sing.
Thank goodness for that. 1,000 Kisses, Luther.
Oh, nice. I've got it in my head now. Like it. Yes, very good.
I'm not going to sing it.
No, I'm not going to ask you.
I can see your mind ticking.
Yeah.
You were like, I like it.
Yeah, very good.
Go on then, feel free. You've got a microphone in front of you. There's an audience.
And I know my levels. Right, last 2. Sam, would a project like Wrexham interest you perhaps
I'm glad
in the
you
same...
brought it up.
Okay,
I'm
go.
glad I was reading on the last couple of days, because this is just one...
It's Hollywood, isn't it?
Adventure story
yeah.
that's... and obviously seen all the clips of Ryan Reynolds and Rob
McKenna.
Elneny.
Something like that.
I said mentioned Rob because he doesn't get mentioned as much as he should,
at all.
does he? It's all about...
And it's all because of him, why they invested in the club in the first place.
And then I read the figures on what they've done. I mean, clearly $2.5 million was an overpay for a team that wasn't in the league.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
it's incredible.
People who brokered that deal from the Wrexham point of view got out of jail with that sort of money.
Mm-hmm.
But in their goodwill and what they've done, and you line up TikTok and social media and Netflix and
A Disney show they've got, I think it is, yeah.
I mean, what they've grossed on Netflix with its
incredible.
documentary, it's around 300 odd thousand or so. Like, I mean, social media's up making money on that, advertising board, TikTok and all. So they're making a huge amount of money. On the top of all that, they've obviously bought a good team to play at that level. Because when you see Fozzie in goal, you know that they're not messing about, like you mean, because Ben's been at the top level a long time. And if anybody can last longer than anybody else from the 30s, that's goalkeepers. Sometimes they actually get better.
Yeah, they
you know
do.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So you look at the structure financially, what's coming in, which means the advertising that's out there and the gate monies is a bit lot like the Premier League. It's not as material as what they're getting from.
It's almost secondary, isn't
from
it?
social media, from TikTok, from Netflix, from all that, and of course it's a sellout.
Yeah.
You know,
Have you seen their pre-season tour? They're playing Manchester United and Chelsea, I think it is, in America.
in the States.
Wrexham
Yep.
are.
But their following in America now is absolutely humongous.
Yeah, they're on the game's always shown at it on the big channels.
Yep.
Right, last question,
You
because
gotta watch it,
obviously, yes, I'm a bit nervous now,
that
to be
wasn't
honest.
a short answer again, was it?
Yes. Well, this one's going to be a short one. Actually, it might end up in a massive debate. Obviously, you scored loads of goals. We know that you're very much into defending, Sam. Who would win an 11-a-side game if it was 11 defenders versus 11 attackers?
The attackers
See, I was going to say the defenders
can't score.
can't defend.
Yeah, but I still think you'd score more goals. I think we'd get more chances, but we'd miss so many chances that it would be, when you look in the Premier League this time, Everton can't score.
Yeah.
So you look in the balance of the game and you look,
Can I throw a twist on it?
Yeah.
Who are my attackers?
Oh.
Because that will determine
Pick your own.
whether we win or
I
lose.
thought you were going to say 11 goalkeepers there.
I pick my own defenders, you pick your own attackers.
Okay, we're undecided. I like that. It's a fair way.
I'm going attackers.
Okay.
Strikers Union.
Strikers Union.
Did you dream
always.
that question up?
No. No, that wasn't. Yes, that was. Of course, they're all mine, especially the good ones. Thank you,
Pleasure.
Jermaine. Such a
pleasure.
pleasure.
Thank you very much
so much.
for coming. Nice
Thank
to
you
see
very, very much for having me.
Thank
Absolute
you.
pleasure. It's been great fun.
Thank
Those
you so
16
much.
hours have flown by, haven't they?
I know. I told you, didn't I? I warned you before we started.
Sam, we've got to stop telling people that it's an hour, haven't we? We've got to
flipping it.
stop telling people.
I've missed the school
Hey,
run.
you've got a bit more to do in a minute. Watch it when they come in.
And we had you talking for 45 minutes before we even started. We'll carry that Making Sam a Vegan conversation after this as well.
Absolutely.
Sam, thank you so much as always. Always a pleasure.
Pleasure, as you.
We'll be back next week with more No Tippy Tappy Football brought to you by William Hill.